In the Obama Chronicles segment tonight, much has been made of Barack Obama's community organizer job. But what exactly did he do in Chicago, and did he do it well? Joining us now from Chicago to analyze, David Mendel, author of the book Obama, From Promise to Power. Okay, let's begin with the community organizer. Sarah Palin made fun of that. His job, as I see it, and reading your book, was basically to lobby. He was a lobbyist for poor people on the south side of Chicago, right?
Well, to some extent, sure. He had to go to the legislature and push for these constituents, for their concerns, and a lot of them were poor folks on the south side of Chicago. So, yeah, he was their advocate. He was their lobbyist in the state legislature.
Now, he wanted to get money for community projects and to clean up certain areas, to build playgrounds, to do all that kind of stuff, correct?
Right. Yeah, he brought back money for after-school programming, for Head Start preschool programming, for food pantries, to stem programs in churches, to stem gang violence, that kind of thing, because these were the concerns of some those residents in that neighborhood. I mean, in those neighborhoods.
Now, he was good at what he did. Would you say he was good at what he did to bring back stuff? Was he good at it?
After the first couple of years in the legislature, yes, he was good. He was in the minority party for a couple of years, and as we know, if you're in the majority party, you're certainly going to have a lot more power, a lot more influence, and he became very close to the new Democratic Senate President, Emil Jones Jr.
Yeah, we said
when the Democrats, right.
Last week, he said he was one of his mentors.
Right.
So when he got to be a state senator, he allied himself with Emil Jones, the most powerful guy in the legislature, and then he got a lot of money. He got $225,000 for St. Sabina's Church, Father Pfleger, the radical Pfleger. $225,000. What about separation of church and state?
Well, I think that's why Obama, you know, believes in these faith-based initiatives. He's not a Democrat who doesn't believe the church does some good in the community. And, you know, a lot of folks on the left have been critical of him for this. But he saw on the ground there that some of these churches on the south side of Chicago were the most productive community members. These were the institutions that really helped a lot of the citizens down there with after-school programming, with marriage counseling, with things like that. So he really believed. I think he genuinely believed.
Yeah, and Pfleger, he's a radical guy, Pfleger, but he has done some good work on the street. There's no doubt. So it looks to me like Barack Obama did his job, brought home pork to his district, did the community act right. But the district is interesting. 67% black, 23% white, 7% Hispanic. However, the violent crime rate in the district is 80% higher than the city of Chicago as a whole. So I'm saying to myself, did it do any good that all of this money poured in there when the situation today is very, very intense? It doesn't seem to have helped all that much.
Yeah, well, Bill, we have struggled in this country for generations now trying to figure out how to save these urban neighborhoods. People are, fleeing these neighborhoods for the suburbs, and what's left there is the very poor of the poorest. So, the poorest of the poor. And so, you can throw, it does make an argument that it maybe does fall back the argument that if you throw too much money at these places, it still doesn't seem to help things. But some of these neighborhoods have been for a generation now.
Absolutely.
Since the
south side of Chicago, bad Leroy Brown. Remember that song?
Right.
Jim Croce back in the 60s. It's always been terrible. It remains terrible. But it looks to me like Barack Obama is sincere in what he did. He did it effectively, and it didn't have a lot of effect on the quality of life in the neighborhood. But what are you going to do? Mr. Mendel, thanks very much. Good book.